They called her Barren for 9 long years. Not infertile, not struggling. Barren. A word that followed her like a shadow, whispered in gatherings, carved into silence, thrown like stones wrapped in smiles. For 9 years, every morning began with hope and ended with prayer. For 9 years, she watched calendars change, seasons pass, faces around her glow with pregnancy announcements, baby showers, tiny shoes placed gently on prayer mats. For 9 years, she smiled while her heart learned how to bleed quietly. The first year, people were kind. Relax, it will happen. Don't think too much. Just enjoy marriage. The second year, the kindness thinned. Doctors entered her life, tests, reports, needles, hormones, waiting rooms that smelled like antiseptic and patience. By the third year, advice turned louder. Herbs, amulets, hakims, spiritual healers. Everyone suddenly became an expert on her body. By the fourth year, pity arrived. Side glances at weddings. Forced sympathy. That soft tone people use when they think you're broken. By the fifth year, blame crept in. Not spoken openly but felt. In the way conversations paused when she entered the room. In the way her mother-in-law sighed just a little too deeply. In the way relatives whispered, maybe Allah didn't write it for her. She cried into her pillow at night so no one would hear. She asked God questions she was scared to speak out loud. Did I do something wrong? Am I being punished? Why her and not me? Every month came with hope dressed as denial. Every month ended with disappointment she pretended not to feel. She learned how to dispose of pregnancy tests without crying. She learned how to congratulate others without breaking. She learned how to survive joy that wasn't meant for her. Doctors finally used words that felt heavier than stone. Low chances. Very unlikely. You should consider alternatives. Alternatives. As if motherhood was a route you could simply detour around. She went home that day and sat alone. No tears. Just silence. The kind that feels louder than screams. That night she prayed differently. Not with demands. Not with expectations. Just surrender. If you give, I will be grateful. If you don't, I will still trust you. But please, if there is even a drop of mercy written for me, let me taste it. Years 6 and 7 tested her faith in ways she didn't know faith could be tested. People stopped asking. Which hurt more than the asking. Her husband held her hand and said, "You are enough." She believed him most days. Then came year 8. She stopped counting ovulation days. Stopped tracking cycles. Stopped hopping publicly. But privately, her heart never stopped whispering to God. Year 9 arrived quietly. No drama. No expectations. One morning she felt tired. Unusually tired. Not the kind that sleep fixes. She ignored it. She had learned not to read into symptoms. Then came nausea. She blamed food. Then dizziness. She blamed stress. Someone joked, "Maybe you're pregnant." She laughed. A laugh trained by disappointment. But something inside her hesitated. She took a test. Alone. No announcements. No hope. When the second line appeared, she stared at it like it might disappear if she breathed too hard. She took another test. Then another. Her hands shook. Her knees gave in. After 9 years, the impossible whispered back. At the hospital, the nurse frowned at the screen. Adjusted the probe. Looked again. Wait. Silence filled the room. Then the doctor leaned forward. I see more than one. Her heart stopped. 1, 2, 3. Her breath vanished. 4. Tears blurred her vision. 5. The room spun. 5 heartbeats. 5 miracles. 5 answers to 9 years of unanswered prayers. She cried so hard she couldn't hear anything else. The doctor smiled stunned. The nurse wiped her tears. Word spread fast. The same mouths that once whispered barren now struggled to speak. People called it rare. Doctors called it extraordinary. She called it God. Pregnancy wasn't easy. Her body carried more than weight, it carried prophecy. Every step was cautious. Every day was prayer. Nights were filled with fear and faith wrestling inside her chest. What if something goes wrong? What if this is too much joy? She spoke to her belly. Promised them stories. Promised them love. Promised them that they were wanted before they were ever seen. Months passed slowly. Each scan showed 5 tiny warriors fighting to stay. When the day came, the hospital moved like a battlefield. Doctors, nurses, machines, urgency. She whispered God's name with every breath. Then cries filled the air. Not 1. Not 2. But 5. 5 lives announced themselves to the world that once denied their mother. She held them one by one. Tiny fingers. Fragile breaths. Proof that mercy doesn't come in portions. The woman once called Barren became a mother 5 times over in one moment. The same people who doubted now said, "We always believed." She smiled. Forgiveness had grown alongside faith. Her story spread. Not as gossip, but as testimony. That God's delay is not denial. That silence is not absence. That barren is a word humans use when they forget who controls miracles. 9 years of waiting. 1 moment of overflow. Sometimes God doesn't answer with 1 blessing. Sometimes he answers with 5, just to remind the world that nothing is impossible. And every time she hears 5 voices call her mama, she remembers the nights she cried alone. And thanks God for every tear that turned into testimony.